Happy Friday, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. This is AL Thick Madame, and this is the shirt that I'm wearing today. I love it. I think it's amazing. I got complimented on it today, surprisingly enough. But yeah, I hope that y'all have been having a wonderful day. The weather's been crazy here. It was hailing and raining really, really bad when I left out to go to work this morning, and when I got off, snow flurries were everywhere, but I don't think the snow is gonna have a chance, so whatever. As far as that's concerned, I'm not here for snow. I don't want it. I don't care anything about it. So anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, this is the third episode of the TV show 911 Lonestar. So it started out with a 911 call, and it came from an area and that had silos. And I'm pretty sure most of y'all have seen silos, especially if you're from any various parts of the United States, because I've seen my analytics and most people who watch my videos are from the United States. So if you live in the South and in Midwest and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure you've seen silos. And even there are places that are up north, but like on the outskirts that have silos. You know, it's not, you know, something that's uncommon to see really throughout the United States. But yeah, it's very common if you live in the South more than anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned, in the Mid-South, in the Midwest, I'm sorry, as well. But somebody did a 911 call, and they were like, my buddy is trapped in the silo, and the captain is like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to approach this. And so he ends up asking Judd to take lead on it, because this is something that happens a whole lot. This is very, very common, and people actually die from this. Like, people might think, oh, that ain't nothing. All they got to do is just get out. Like, he literally was sinking in corn. That's what is filling this silo up. A lot of silos we know of, they have wheat, stuff like that in there. This one actually had corn in it. So one false move, you could just sit up there and literally drown and die, and there's no water in sight. Like, you could just be pulled in and just die. So they got there. He was telling them all what they needed to do in order for it to go smoothly. Everything seemed fine as long as nobody steps on the corn, and they have something that they were putting that on top of it so that there was no pressure or air pockets forming, and they were able to step down on that. So then something happened with one of the, I don't want to say harness, but it was a strap that they were, one of them, I think it was Mahjong. That's what the girl's name is, Mahjong. I think I'm saying her name right. The Muslim girl. I think her strap broke. And whatever was holding her up, her harness, whatever it was, y'all, it broke, came loose. And, you know, some of the people were outside and everybody else on the inside. And the captain even saw it when it snapped. And he was like, what's going on in there? And, you know, of course, he let him know what was going on. She now is stuck, and he had to tell her, like, don't move. And she's like, you know, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And, you know, even though you can tell she's scared, she's still trying to keep her composure, and she starts to sink, even though she's not moving. Y'all, tell me why the captain's son that set it off, and he was like, I think I can get to her. Judd told him, no, leave her alone. Don't do it. He done unbuckled, unfastened everything, and he go still hop down on the, I was like, sir, why? He done hop down on the corn. First of all, we already had a whole situation going on before you got here. They have already surrounded the guy who they're supposed to be getting out by all this equipment, and that's when the thing broke and all that or whatever. What their plan was to suck the corn out and have it, you know, be dispersed elsewhere. And it was going to help to free him, because it actually was the equivalent of having several refrigerators on every part of your body that is exposed to this corn all at the same time. So this boy over here dying, like, for real. He already getting crushed by this corn. And people wouldn't think that, because it's really small kernels, and it's like, oh, really? That's doing all that? Yeah, it really was doing the most. So they already had something encamped around him trying to get him out. So now they got 2 situations going on at the same time. Now there's 3 situations going on at the same time because both of them ended up getting sucked in. Old boy is still where he's supposed to be and, you know, even more panicked than he was before because the people who came to save him are now in trouble. So Judd had to rearrange what he was going to do. They ended up having to cut the silo open and he had to tell that boy, when I tell you to jump or push this as hard as you can, you do it. Hold your breath, whatever. So he was like, you just told me not to move. He was like, this is the only way you're going to get out alive. So they ended up cutting it and he ended up putting the pressure on it like he was supposed to when he told him to. They all rolled out and they got exposed to, you know, outside elements and all this other stuff. Y'all keep in mind that, you know, I don't know if you watch this show, but Marjong, or however she pronounces her name, I got to get that right because I feel like I'm not saying it right. The Muslim woman, she rolls out and TK rolls out and the person who was initially trapped roll out. She rolls out and her hijab has come off. And so she doesn't realize it at first. And, you know, the guy who, you know, for all intents and purposes was going to be the driver, he looking at her like, whoa, I didn't know you look like that. Because, I mean, I'm looking like, sir. When I first laid eyes on her, I was like, yeah, she looked good for no reason. Like, and she had her hijab on. So I was like, okay, you trying it. But people are so fixated on hair that it's like, oh, no. If she has her hair like this, then that makes her beautiful. And I'm like, there are people who are bald head. Like, I was about to say bald head scallywag, but that wasn't, you know, what I was going for. I have some Project Pat on my mind. Y'all excuse me. That's my problem right now. But anyway, the person could literally be bald and they are gorgeous as well. So I'm just like, why are people so fixated? And it was like, she got out of the thing and like, her hair, of course, is luxurious. And like, she's, you know, getting up. And then as soon as she really comes to and notices where she is and that she's gotten out, you see cameras in her face. You see these cameras. Well, you see people recording in her face. And so luckily, most of her team realizes what is going on and what they need to do. So they end up going all around her and creating a barrier so that they could allow her to put the hijab back on and all this other stuff. And so she needs to know, like, you know, did this get out or, you know, whatever, because she equates wearing that with, you know, a lot. Like, it's a heavy thing for her, and it means a lot to her for her to wear it, and she wears it proud. So in her mind, she was like, do you think anybody saw that? And then a lot of people are like, yeah. And I mean, it really went viral. She's gone viral before, and she's very proud of the work that she does, but she's always made sure that everybody knows that she is a proud Muslim woman. And yes, although I am a woman, I am out here working and doing this. So yeah, y'all, it was just a lot that happened with that. Let me see. The woman, I think her name is Michelle. The woman who was a captain that's like over the EMT, paramedics or whatever, she was talking to who I knew I wasn't crazy. The guy who TK was having his little, you know, booty call moment with, he is rather a police officer. And he is the guy who the woman was talking to whenever she was confiding in somebody about, you know, how she was feeling about her sister and all that. So they are, you know, talking again. So apparently they're very close. They're talking again. And usually when they talk as of late, it's all about her and how she feels. And she never says anything to be like, oh, well, you know, what's going on with you? And, you know, he actually addressed that. Excuse me, y'all. And when she finally did ask, he went on ahead and let the cat out of the bag and was like, yeah, I saw somebody and they were great in bed and you actually know who the person is and it's the captain's son. And, you know, she was intrigued. And I was just like, oh, I can't believe you told him. But, you know, he was like, you know, I don't know what his deal is. He got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know what it is for real, but she doing the most. So he doing the most. So he was like, okay, cool. You know, I don't know what I need to do. And so he was like, well, why don't you lead? Because, you know, you're the one with the handcuffs. don't, you know, sit up here and just expect certain things to happen. And, you know, he kind of was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So yeah, y'all, I am making sure I'm not missing stuff because I feel like I'm gonna miss something. Y'all, they ended up having a 911 call in, a 911 call to come in, excuse me, after there was a steak eating contest. Y'all hear about people doing hot dog eating contests, pie eating contests, and all that stuff. Yeah, down here in Texas, they do a steak eating contest. And I think these people said that this was a 96-ounce steak, which is 6 pounds, that you had to consume in order to have your face put on this woman's wall of fame because you have completed this task. So there was this big old massive dude that was going against this really small woman, and the woman was doing well. And she, you know, ended up doing what she was supposed to do as far as the rules were concerned. You have to eat all of the steak. So while she's eating, she's just chugging the water and beer or whatever, like mainly pitchers of water are in front of her, and she's just down on them like it's nothing. Old boy is literally almost at the end, and he's just like, I can't finish it. I just can't finish it. So everybody's rooting for her. She's about to be the first woman to complete this. Down goes Frazier after she has, you know, completed the task. And everybody looking like, what's wrong with her? Why does she look like that? Passed completely out, bumped her head on the table or on the stool right in front of her while all this is going down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much. So they end up arriving. They look at her. Somebody was like, is she pregnant? Like, what's going on? Because when they turn her over, she literally looks pregnant. But that piece of steak was bigger than her head. It looked like it was 2-3 times bigger than the size of her head. I was like, okay, this is too much. Like, what in the world? So the steak was inside of her. All that water she drank was inside of her. So they are, you know, doing deductive reasoning. They are realizing, oh, this is what it is. This is the station she was at. Oh, okay. So she was like, oh, yeah, that's her station. She was just chugging it. She was just throwing it back. You can't do that. Even though it's water, you can essentially end up being in a drunken state, and that's what she was in after she'd done all that. So that's why she ended up passing out the way she did and didn't know what was going on. So she's halfway coming to, and she literally looks pregnant, y'all. They end up saying, all right, I'm going to go ahead and put this catheter in her. Y'all, the bag filled up really, really fast to the point of where it was like no more room. And if they didn't do what they were doing on the spot, her, y'all was about to say uterus, her, bladder was going to explode, and people actually die from that. Like, I never thought that that was a such thing until I was like in middle school. And I used to run, believe it or not, I used to run up and down our driveway, and our driveway is like a half a mile long or whatever, give or take. And especially in the summertime, I was very active outside and all that. So I would run up and down doing the most, and then I would drink like a whole lot of cold water because we outside and doing the most. You drinking, you gotta drink that. You gotta, you know, replenish your body or whatever. So I would overdo it. And I would kind of get a feeling like, okay, this is too much, but I really want this water. But I never knew that there was a such thing as you being able to drown from the inside, or this that actually is happening to this woman. So yeah, that's crazy. So like I said, the bag was filling up to the point of where it was just like, okay, ain't no more room. And they trying to figure out how they gonna get the liquid to come out. I was like, I thought the captain was gonna get sprayed in the face by this woman's pee. Well, the pee came out, and it ended up going and splattering and spraying all on the wall that had the picture of the woman who was hosting this contest and all the other pictures that were up there. So she's disgusted, and everybody was just like, okay, a lot just happened right then. So yeah, she and her feelings, she'll be all right. I already told y'all about, you know, TK's little, his booty call. Y'all, the woman who has been badgering the ex-boyfriend, lover, or whatever, she has met up with him, and because of the advice that the police officer gave her, he was like, you know, despite the fact that you have a restraining order against you, why don't you, if you feel like he has something to do with this, or even if you don't and you really want to still talk to him, maybe he can give you some information that you've been seeking. If you just basically kill it with kindness. Act like you got some sense instead of just setting it off. Like, she literally will walk in the neighborhood and be like, he killed my sister. We haven't seen her since. I mean, just setting it all the way off. So she rolled up on this man while he was at school. Apparently he's a teacher or something. How, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I want to say how, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, if I didn't do something and somebody just wanted to continue to accuse me of doing something that I didn't do, I'm probably going to be in my feelings about it. Because if somebody tells me that I'm lying, like, I cannot. Like, if I know I'm not lying about something, you want to just tell me, no, I know you're lying. It's like, but you apparently don't know. Because, like, that's stuff like that triggers me. It tears my nerves up. I don't like it. It makes me furious. Like, so I can kind of understand, but at this point, I don't know if he has anything to do with the sister's disappearance. So I'm not going to say nothing as far as that is concerned. But like I said, she popped up on him while he was about to go inside the school, and he looking at her like, okay, all right, this is a whole new low, even for you. So she was like, look, like, hear me out. I just want to know, you know, what was going on with you? What was going on with y'all? I went and I spoke to one of your neighbors, and they said that she was last seen leaving your house in a blue pickup truck. So he looking at her like, you over here harassing my neighbors now? And, you know, it just got to the point where he was like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I was, you know, I lost someone too and all this other stuff. And, you know, it seemed like they were having a moment. Then it just went left. But, you know, she still don't know how to feel because she don't know if this dude really has anything to do with her sister's disappearance or not. So she really didn't get anywhere with that. And he ended up calling the police on her again and was like, yeah, I'd like to report a stalker, as he was walking away. So y'all, the captain is going and receiving, I think, his first rounds of whatever treatment that the place was giving him. I guess it's chemo. And this is his first time going. So he's in there, and this older guy, this man who's older than him, I'm guessing, well, at least he looks older than him. He was talking to him, and, you know, he basically wanted to know why he was there, and, you know, the specifics or whatever. And so he kind of told him, and then they hit on the fact that, you know, I had to tell my boys, because I think he said that he used to be a football coach, and the way that they took it, it wasn't that great. But the next time they had a game, they went and beat the people down and brought home a win. So, you know, they kind of took that aggression and, you know, the hurt that they were feeling about that situation and put it on the field. So, you know, he was like, well, how did your boys feel? And, well, how did your team feel once you told them? And so he was like, well, yeah, I haven't told them yet. Only one person knows, and that's it. So, you know, that's a problem in and of itself. And he was trying to give him really good advice, and he was like, you know what you got to do? You got to gather everybody around, or as many people as you can at the same time, and deliver this news, because it's something that they need to know. You can't just sit up there and just make it just seem like, oh, well, everything's okay. No, they need to know. And despite how you feel, this is something that they need to know too. So anyway, y'all, another 911 call come in, right? And it was weird because I was like, okay, what in the world? Because the scene starts off with this man driving in his car. I guess he's looking for a parking spot. He see this woman. The woman looks really nice. And it's like she did I was like, y'all know y'all wrong. Y'all, the woman was standing there like she had just put some stuff in her trunk, right? And it's like, they just should have had, this could have just been a hair commercial the way they did. They had the woman like, I was like, if y'all don't get somewhere with this foolishness. And the woman was so fine, and he was like, dang. He done went all the way off. And so he about to bust a U-turn to go talk to her. And then his car is damaged because a body has fallen from the sky. It seems as though someone has jumped. Y'all, so they get there, and they trying to figure out what did happen. So the woman looked dead, and then all of a sudden she starts moving and all this other stuff and trying to talk. And it seems like she's saying, where is Michael? They figure out that she's come from the 7th floor, and they go up to her room, And then they're instantly like, okay, nah, she was wondering where was her cell phone, not Michael. But she's like this, y'all want to say YouTube. She's I don't want to say yogi, but she is. She does yoga, and she's supposed to be a guru as far as that is concerned. And so she likes to take stuff to the next level and do what other people haven't done. So she's sitting up there recording, and then the next thing you know, she'd have sat up here and then got herself on the side of the balcony hanging by her knees. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is, what I'm talking about. Like what we used to do if you ever were on the playground and you would be at the monkey bars. And some people, depending on how it was built, you could like hang and just have yourself fall back and you're just hanging there and your legs are up or whatever. That's how she was. This heifer fell and about killed herself. So I'm guessing she all right, but that's what happened because they ended up playing the video back and she was talking to the people recording a video and they see her fall. It wasn't the fact that somebody threw her or pushed her or she was trying to commit suicide. It was that she was trying to do the most and ended up creating an accident and tore her legs up, y'all. Broke her leg. Oh, Lord, it was the most. So anyway, y'all, after a long day of work and all the other things that happens within a day, everybody is at a bar. And, oh, y'all, before that, tell me why TK is in his feelings, right? Because him and Judd got into it because of what happened at the silo. So they literally got into it, like, came to like kind of fisticuffs. It was bad. Judd, you know, he kind of big, so he didn't eventually got TK and then put him in a headlock and people had to come separate them. It was the most. Y'all, it got to the point where all of them are there. It's kind of like how they do on all these shows. Everybody goes to this one bar in particular and all that. So anyway, like I was saying, TK's in there and the guy actually asked him out on a date and he came, but the whole time he is complaining about Judd and how country he is and all this other stuff. And he was like, he over here trying to tell me what to do and blah, 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 all this other stuff. He in there complaining about him. Meanwhile, Judd over there with his wife and his feelings and drinking. And he like, man, I got to sit up here and be with him. And he think he all that because he told TK the truth about himself. Because he really over here skipping over other people in line, in all honesty, because his dad is who he is. Like, that's just the truth. And he read him. He got mad about it and they ended up fighting. So then he was like, the wife was like, look, you know, that's the captain's son. You're going to have to apologize. And for some reason, he be remembering and realizing that his wife is right. He be realizing that she right. And so he went on ahead and manned up and we went over like the next day when they were at work and explained to him why he said what he said to him. And see, he came at him the way he did in the area where the silo was and in reference to that situation because all the stuff he's been going through. His people died in front of him. He's trying to follow protocol. He is over here looking at him like, you ain't my daddy. My dad is the one who tell me what to do. Even though he clearly saw his father tell him that he is the one who takes lead and what he says goes. But he still wanted to do what he wanted to do. And he was like, I'm telling you all of this because all of these things happened. I saw these people as my family, my brothers, and they died. So, you know, I don't want you to think that I hate you and none of this. I'm trying to be cool with you. So they ended up kumbayaing and all that good stuff. And that turned out for the best. Old girl was talking to the captain about the situation and what happened when she tried to approach the boyfriend. And you know, he took that in. And they started drinking together and having fun, doing what they was doing. Later on that night, he actually had gotten drunk, went up to this man's house because he had gotten the man's name. You know, she told him his whole name. And so he got the whole address, went to this man's house, approached him about it, ended up hemming the man, he hemmed that man up something terrible at his own house and proceeded to throw up on him. And I mean, this was all because of him drinking, and he's showing weakness a lot because of all the stuff that he's going through with the cancer and the chemo and all that, because prime example, he was trying to work out, and he normally bench presses like 200 and something pounds, like nothing. And he actually had a moment of weakness, and they had to come and like get it off of him. I was like, oh Lord, it's already showing up. It's already going down. It's already messing you up. So, you know, I think he's realizing that, and he gonna have to go somewhere and sit down, but you know, I don't know. Anyway, he done rolled up on this man. He got information, and later on he was able to present that information to her. And old boy came by the station and was talking to her, and they kind of actually had a for real kumbaya moment this time. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Y'all, after everything happened with Mi Young, oh, I feel like I'm saying her name wrong, the woman who's Muslim, she went to the mosque and she was doing everything she normally does in the mosque, and one of the other ladies that looks around her age approached her, and you know, they chopped it up. But then it got to the point where she was like, yeah, a lot of the ladies here feel like you need to find a new mosque to go worship at because you out here doing the most and ain't nobody got time. And see, that's why a lot of people turn away from the church, from anything dealing with certain religions, because as soon as you do something they feel like you don't need to do, they just be like, oh, you got to get out. They will turn you away. And it's like, how you gonna turn us away? What are we supposed to be believing? And then you gonna sit up here and turn me away? They already ain't here for the fact that she is a woman and she out here doing what she doing. Then she out here, people recording her and living for her and lusting after her. And y'all, if you don't see how she looks, she is everything. I said what I said. But yeah, she everything. But yeah, so she and her feelings about that, the people doing the most. And so later on, she ended up venting to that black guy. I got to find his name out because he is everything. And so he was like, well, you know, I feel like you should just go in there with your hijab held high and, you know, do what you got to do. And so she felt better about the situation. Y'all, this all ended up ending how the 4th episode began for me. And I told y'all that was the first episode I ended up seeing. And there was a tornado or a hurricane that was approaching, and that's how it ended. So anyway, probably tomorrow I'll do the 4th episode. Hopefully I wasn't too all over the place with this. I do have to get better. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do to get better, but I feel like I do need to get better and that I will be able to get better. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Like this if you want to. Subscribe if you want to. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to y'all later on. Bye.